In professional tennis, one great week can make the world notice you. But it cannot make the world keep watching. That takes something harder. Beating elite opponents more than once, adapting when they study your game, and delivering when the pressure is no longer a surprise. Alex Eala has crossed that line. She arrived as a fearless young left-hander from the Philippines. Then she started defeating major champions, filling stadiums with Philippine flags, and forcing the sport's biggest names to prepare for her differently. But the most important part of her rise is not a single upset, a trophy, or even her ranking. It is the reason those results may be repeatable. So why is the tennis world watching Alex Eala, and how high could she still climb? This is AGNETIC, the signal behind the noise, the week that changed the conversation. Wider tennis audience truly began paying attention in Miami in 2025. Eala entered the tournament as a wild card ranked around number 140 in the world. At that level, the usual expectation is simple. Enjoy the opportunity, gain experience, and see how your game holds up against established stars. Eala did something else. She defeated Jelena Ostapenko, then Madison Keys, then Iga Swiatek. 3 major champions in one tournament. The Swiatek match revealed what made Eala dangerous. She did not play like someone waiting for the favorite to miss. She attacked the return, took time away with a flatter forehand, and stayed composed through long, difficult service games. She broke Swiatek 8 times and reached the semifinals. Suddenly, Eala was no longer just a promising player with a strong junior resume. She had evidence that her game could trouble the very best. But tennis is full of players who produce one extraordinary tournament. The tour adjusts quickly. Coaches study patterns. Opponents learn where to serve, which wing to attack, and how to extend rallies until confidence turns into doubt. The real test came after Miami. Could Eala keep producing when she was no longer anonymous? From surprise to repeat threat, her answer came in stages. In 2025, she reached her first WTA Tour final on the grass at Eastbourne. She held championship points but finished runner-up, a painful result, yet also proof that Miami had not been a one-week illusion. Later that year, she earned her first Grand Slam main draw victory at the US Open, coming back from 5-1 down in the deciding set against Clara Tauson as the crowd pushed behind her. Then came 2026. She opened the season with a semi-final run in Auckland. She reached the quarterfinals in Dubai. On grass in Berlin, she defeated world number 2 Elena Rybakina in straight sets. Notice the pattern. Different opponents, different surfaces, different kinds of pressure. That is the point where an upset starts becoming a warning. When the same player repeatedly challenges the top tier, the question changes from, can she do it? To what happens if she keeps improving? Then came Wimbledon, the tournament that showed her rise could hold up on tennis's most scrutinized stage. Wimbledon, where attention became belief. Wimbledon carried a different kind of pressure. Eala was no longer arriving as an unknown wild card. She entered a Grand Slam as a seeded player, with opponents already studying the patterns that had made her dangerous. In the second round, she recovered after losing the opening set to defeat Maya Joint in 3. That victory placed her across the net from defending champion Iga Swiatek, the superstar she had stunned in Miami the year before. This time, there was no element of surprise. Swiatek knew the threat. Her team had the Miami footage, the statistics, and more than a year to study what had gone wrong. Eala still found a way through. She attacked the return, used higher balls to disrupt Swiatek's rhythm, found sharp passing angles, and remained aggressive when the first set tightened. She won in straight sets, producing 24 winners, converting 5 of 7 breakpoints and saving 8 of the 11 she faced. More importantly, she did it on grass, a surface that rewards quick decisions and punishes hesitation. The victory carried her into the Wimbledon last 16. Her run eventually ended against Jasmine Paolini, but that loss did not erase the signal. Eala had beaten the defending champion and reached the second. Week on the sport's most traditional stage, Miami, had introduced her. Wimbledon showed that the tour's best players could prepare for her and still be beaten. To understand why, we have to look beyond the score lines. The game behind the Rise Eala's first advantage is obvious. She is left-handed. That changes the geometry of a match. Serves and ground strokes arrive from angles most players face less often. But being left-handed is not enough by itself. What matters is how she uses it. Eala is especially dangerous on return. She reads the serve early, gets a high number of balls back in play, and turns the opponent's service game into immediate pressure. Against great servers, she does not need to win every return point. She needs to make them hit one more ball, and then make them wonder whether the next serve will come back even harder. Her forehand can travel flatter through the court, taking time away instead of relying only on heavy topspin. Her backhand can redirect pace down the line, and when an opponent moves forward, Eala is comfortable finding sharp passing angles. The result is a game built less around one overwhelming weapon and more around disruption. She changes direction. She rushes positioning. She absorbs pace, then redirects it. And she competes close enough to the baseline to make an opponent feel that the court is shrinking. There is also a part of her game that has visibly developed: the serve. It has often been considered the most attackable part of her tennis. But during the 2026 grass season, it became more reliable in important moments. Against Rybakina in Berlin, she found aces under pressure. Against Swiatek at Wimbledon, improved serving helped her protect the advantage her returning created. That development matters because a stronger serve does more than win free points. It shortens difficult service games, protects energy, and allows the rest of her game to become more aggressive, but technique explains only part of what people are seeing: her. Most valuable quality. Eala has described the key word in her game as brave. That does not mean swinging recklessly. It means accepting that the correct shot can still miss, and choosing it anyway. Against Rybakina, Eala had to serve out one of the biggest wins of her career. The pressure tightened, but she responded with an ace and closed the match. In Washington, the test was different. The final against Jessica Pegula was repeatedly interrupted by rain and stretched across 2 days. Eala lost the opening set. She had hours to think about the stakes, the opponent, and the trophy waiting on the other side. When play resumed, she adjusted. She came back to win and captured her first WTA Tour singles title. The important detail was not simply that she won. It was that she processed what had happened in the first part of the match and returned with a better solution. That is what elite tennis demands. There is no timeout long enough for a coach to rebuild your strategy. Players must solve problems while tired, nervous and exposed in front of thousands of people. Eala's ability to keep competing while making those adjustments may be her most valuable quality, because power can win. Points, problem-solving wins, careers. The Washington was the clearest signal yet because of who stood between Eala and the trophy: Zheng Qinwen, Leylah Fernandez, Elina Svitolina, Naomi Osaka, Jessica Pegula. Every opponent was either a major finalist or ranked inside the top 10 at the time. Eala also defeated the tournament's top 3 seeds on the way to the title. This was not a protected draw opening around her. It was a direct route through accomplished, high-pressure opponents with different styles. After Washington, Eala entered the WTA Top 20 for the first time. As of late August 2026, the WTA lists her at a career-high number 18, with 1 tour-level singles title and 7 top 10 wins during the season by the end of Washington. Rankings move every week, so the number itself is not the final story. What matters is what those number changes. Higher ranking brings better seeding, more direct entry into major events, and fewer early round meetings with the very top players. But it also brings greater expectation. Opponents arrive with more detailed plans. Every loss becomes louder. Every tournament asks the same question again. Can she maintain this level when everyone now sees her coming? A crowd that travels with her. There is another reason Eala feels larger than a normal ranking story. Her support travels. In New York, Melbourne, Dubai, Toronto, and Washington, Philippine flags have appeared throughout the stands. Her matches can sound like home fixtures, even when they are being played thousands of kilometers from Manila. That connection is not manufactured. The Philippines has a vast global community, and Eala gives that community a player to follow together. A match becomes more than an individual result. It becomes a shared moment across countries and time zones. The crowd does not hit the shots for her. And intense support can create pressure as easily as confidence, but it changes the atmosphere around her matches. Tournament organizers notice, broadcasters notice, sponsors notice, opponents notice. Most rising players have to build performance and audience separately. Eala is building both at the same time. That combination makes every new stage feel more important, and every deep run more visible. Has to improve. But this is where the story needs perspective. Eala is still only 21. A top 20 ranking is a major achievement, but it is not the summit. The difference between reaching the top tier and staying there is consistency across an exhausting global season. Her serve must continue becoming harder to attack. She will need to protect her body through long matches, changing surfaces, and constant travel. She must learn when to absorb pressure and when to take the first strike. And as opponents collect more data, she will need new patterns before the old ones become predictable. There will also be difficult losses. That is not evidence that the rise has ended. It is the normal cost of competing against the best players in the world every week. The real measurement will not be whether she wins every tournament. No one does. It will be whether her average level keeps rising, whether early exits become quarterfinals, quarterfinals become finals, and major second weeks become familiar rather than exceptional. That next step is harder than the breakthrough because surprise is gone. Now she must build with the spotlight on. Why everyone is watching. Why is the tennis world watching Alex Eala? Not simply because she is the first Filipina to reach these levels. Not because of one famous victory, and not because her journey has already reached its ending. The world is watching because the signals are beginning to align. Left-handed game that disrupts elite opponents. A return that creates pressure immediately. A serve that is improving. The courage to attack important points. The intelligence to change a match while it is still happening. And a global community that turns every court into something louder. Alex Eala is no longer asking whether she belongs on the WTA Tour. Now the question is how much of it she can claim. Her ranking will move. Opponents will adjust. The pressure will grow, but that is precisely why this moment matters. We are not looking back at a completed journey. We are watching the climb happen in real time, and the next chapter may unfold close to home. Alex is set to return to Singapore for the newly upgraded WTA 500 Singapore Tennis Open at OCBC Arena from September 21st to 27th. For fans across Southeast Asia, it is a rare opportunity to experience her rise live, on the same island where she once competed as a junior. This time, the stage is much bigger. How high do you think Alex Eala can climb? Tell us in the comments, and subscribe to AGNETIC, where we find the signal behind the noise.